This is Dolly TV. That was a failure, my friends, but the Edmonton Oilers have taken home win number 11 in a row. And oh my goodness, it's in classic Toronto Maple Leafs fashion as the Edmonton Oilers come back in the third period. Leafs choke it all the way home. And the Oilers finish up with a 4-2 victory over top of the Toronto Maple Leafs in what was a game that was not looking like it was going our way. Obviously, I tuned in around the point that Toronto put in goal number 2 of the game, and that's really all that was going to be seen on their end the rest of the way home, as the Toronto Maple Leafs just muster pretty much nothing else. Stuart Skinner shuts the door, and the Edmonton Oilers cruise on to, well, what you see now is an 11-game win streak, and a big part here is it's just game in, game out. I mean, we beat a lot of bad teams on that 11-game win streak so far, but we've also beat a couple good ones. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, despite their troubles, are still a pretty good hockey team. So you gotta love it. The Toronto Maple Leafs choke again, and when they choke in Edmonton, that's a thing to celebrate. Let me tell you, it's something that I've always been hard on is the Maple Leafs fandom. So I obviously feel bad for Leafs fans tonight because I mean no team deserves to have their team choke as much as the Leafs have over the past well, eternity of my life, but that's a different question for those still waiting for a Stanley Cup in their lifetime as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. But yeah, no, we'll obviously see what Steve Dangle, the comments section mentioning it there. But for the Edmonton Oilers, it's a game again. On this win streak, we've seen it a million times over. This Edmonton Oilers squad has just stuck with it, just kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. And this Oilers squad continues to find ways to win. I think it was Jack Michaels saying it pointedly beautiful at the end of the hockey game there. This streak started with a 4-goal third period against New Jersey. And the Edmonton Oilers find a way here tonight to put up another big third period effort to win a hockey game, right? You score three. Draisaitl flukes one into the net there kind of in the second period. And you end up getting this hockey game to a 4-2 final with an empty netter. That's a pretty big achievement right there, especially against the Toronto Maple Leafs squad that scored 30 seconds into the hockey game, right? At literally 30 seconds in, Austin Matthews scores the goal that made it 1-0. So for the Oilers, it's kind of one of those situations where you won 11 in a row, and as many people try to say it's not as special as it could be, it's not by accident by any means. And here's the best part too, friends. I mean, Toronto pushed us the whole time. I mean, if it wasn't for the line changes tonight, I don't know where the Oilers are at this evening. Mostly because who did all the scoring, right? Outside of an empty netter from Evan Bouchard, Ryan McLeod, Derek Ryan, Leon Draisaitl. That's your second and third lines doing all the goal scoring. So, yeah, end of the day is Chris Knobloch had a feeling. A lot of people doubted it, and I fair reason. You don't want to change things up too much after an 11 game or 10 game win streak, and the changes worked to perfection to get us a big old 11 game win streak. So I'll take it. Hey, you know what? I'm happy. It's a snow day kind of night for me. Wasn't able to make it home, but end of the day too is we're happy, right? I know I'm saying end of the day here a lot, but I am just happy. Big victory. The Oilers get the job done. And yeah, actually, Brett mentioning there as well that Zach Hyman had a goal called off against his former team. I mean, that's just par for the course now. They can't let Hyman score 80 goals this season, so you got to call off half of them. And yeah, so it was an eventful night. I mean, Stuart Skinner, if you tuned into the game early, you would have seen him get toppled a couple of times by the Leafs attack, right? They drove to the paint. The Leafs did not make this victory easy by any means for the Oilers. It's just again how it happens for the Toronto Maple Leafs, how it happens for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers come from behind, roaring in the third period, and really continuing to show why they're on an 11-game win streak. And the Toronto Maple Leafs yet again find a way to choke another hockey game in the third. So it was kind of one of those things. I was texting a lot of people here sitting on the couch this evening and just kind of watching the bits and parts of the game between some tennis and some other stuff on TV, and you're getting the sense that this is where this is going, right? The Leafs, they don't have this, and I think it was Jack and Louie that were talking about doubt creeping in, or maybe it was Bob and Mac T creeping in with the doubt in the third period, right? You've folded a couple of times in a row, and now you're playing with some tightness, some apprehension in your game because you don't want it to happen again, and you're trying to be perfect to make sure it doesn't. And well, it does for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. So for the Edmonton Oilers, though, friends, again, it's an 11-game win streak, and we're all happy. We're all good to go, and we're all hopefully going to sleep very well tonight. Next up is Seattle. I'm seeing that in the comments there from Bob. Next up, Seattle on Thursday. Then you go Saturday in Calgary, of course, my turf here in southern Alberta. And I'm looking forward to what could be a very feisty Saturday night, especially the Flames aren't that far off from us in the standings, right? I mean, we won tonight. Flames are sitting around 47-ish points, if I'm not mistaken. So we're closing in here on what is going to be a very interesting playoff race for that second, first, and third spot. Kind of third in the Pacific, first and second wild cards. And the Flames are far from out of the conversation, especially if they can get some buy-in from their top guys. So we'll see what the story ends up being here for the Edmonton Oilers. But yeah, that Saturday night game is going to be fun. It's Thursday against Seattle's an important 2 points you got to go out there and get. So this win streak's got to, in my estimation, at least stretch to 13 to just keep those pride in winning, I guess, at this point for what this Oilers team has done. I don't think you can lose against Seattle for the fact that it would cost you a lot of points in the standings, 4 total kind of deal, and you can't lose against Calgary simply because if you lose a 12-game win streak in Calgary on a Saturday night, friends, it's going to be a couple months until the playoffs, until we don't hear about that anymore. So rather not, and obviously keep going. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting Friday and Saturday down here in southern Alberta as we get geared up for the Battle of Alberta on Hockey Night in Canada, Hockey Day in Canada, might I add. But friends, I'm Tyson, the Stallone TV. Thank you so much for being aboard for the ride this evening. Again, the Leafs choke it in the third period. Big shocker there. And now, all of a sudden, right, we sit here and see what the Edmonton Oilers have in store for us going into game number, possibly win number 12 here against Seattle on Thursday. But again, a perfect effort by Chris Knobloch to shake up the lines. Giddy Vander came back in the top 6, and the third line buzzes in the third period and wins us a hockey game. You love to see it. Friends, I'm Tyson, this is Stallone TV. Thank you so much for being aboard this evening for an extended post-game edition. Again, if you are new to the channel or you're returning and haven't hit that subscribe button, I would definitely ask you to do that as we're closing in on 15,000 here. But that will do it for a much muted post-game celebration. You know me, if it was a regular night, I'd be sitting here screaming and yelling, but we'll save that for another time. Friends, what I will tell you though as well, play La Bamba. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.